Bilingual web magazine. Dig Tokyo. Gear in Business 10. Famous classical music and jazz recordings. High-Fidelity CDs for testing audio equipment. 6. 1. Prologue. So far in our audio recommendations series, we've posted lists of compilation CDs we recommend for taking your baby steps into new music genres. There's something about compilation CDs that feels alive in a way that you don't get with playlists on a music streaming service. It also helps that it's easier than ever to get your hands on high-quality recordings at a reasonable price. This article will be the first of several articles where we list off the original albums and best of albums we recommend from the different genres we've covered so far. This time I'll be going over classical music and jazz albums. Albums that are considered all-time greats are often remastered with each improvement in audio technology. As a result, there are many versions of each recording out there, and it can be difficult to know which to purchase. For the purposes of this article, I've tried to find the highest quality recordings possible, while also making an attempt to select the discs that can be played in conventional CD players. At the end of this article, I will also go over a music streaming service I've gotten into recently. 2. Why so many classical music and jazz recordings have high-quality sound? Jazz recordings, and especially classical music recordings, are known as the realm of audiophiles, music meant to be played on expensive audio equipment through high-end speakers and acoustically designed listening spaces. Classical music is the music of upper-class Europeans, to be properly appreciated by educated, cultured people. Jazz developed in the American South around the turn of the 20th century and brings together the technical skill and theory of European music and the rhythms and treble beats being cultivated in African American communities. There's a lot of improvisation involved, and the music can sometimes get tedious for those without some knowledge of music. Meanwhile, pop music and rock music were born and cultivated in American middle-class and British working-class communities. They emphasize catchiness and danceability over everything else and are unsubtle, easy to consume, and enjoyable by almost anybody. In terms of sound quality, classical music involves a wide range of sounds, both big and small, from sweeping orchestral arrangements to whisper-tone piano solos. In order to properly enjoy that sound at home, you need equipment capable of reproducing a wide dynamic range. Also consider that the types of venues where classical music and jazz are performed are scientifically designed to provide the best possible acoustics. Other than electric jazz, these two genres of music are largely played without amplification. Pop and rock are for the masses, and as such are designed to sound largely the same on any audio equipment that it is played back on, whether it's a smartphone or a stereo. Americans have long enjoyed it on the radio. Pop is often not so much a listening experience as it is vocal entertainment or music to be played at a large volume at a nightclub. Rock is meant to be played at a large volume. It is the sound of rebellion, purposely designed to grate on the ears of older generations. Today there are plenty of pop and rock music recordings that have superior sound, and high-res digital audio has its own appeal, distinct from the warmth and crackle of vinyl records. But for someone who wants to discover the richness of musical expression without breaking the bank, I recommend listening to classical music and jazz on CD or high-res digital audio. 5. Epilogue. High-res digital music streaming services. We're currently in the midst of a vinyl record revival, both in Japan and overseas. The biggest draw of vinyl is the natural warmth of the sound. Audiophiles like to make that sound even warmer using a vacuum tube amplifier. These days, you can easily get your hands on record players selling for around 10,000 yen at CD shops and consumer electronics stores. What most people aren't aware of is that if you want to draw out the full potential of a record, you need to know quite a bit about audio equipment, as well as have the wherewithal to buy the necessary equipment. Proper record players can cost between 40,000 and 50,000 yen. Amps and speakers around 10,000 to 20,000 yen. Not to mention that special attention must be paid to cables. Even more important is what record needle you use. Expect to pay at least 10,000 yen a needle, and upwards of 30,000 or 40,000 yen in order to truly experience vinyl at its best. Back in the 20th century, CD recordings were considered inferior in terms of sound quality when compared to quality vinyl recordings. But these days, many digitally remastered CDs equal and even surpass vinyl. Sure, putting on a CD lacks the manual ritual of putting on a vinyl record, but judging solely by sound quality, CDs are now superior. If you want to enjoy high sound quality music without the hassle of CDs, I recommend getting a subscription for a music streaming service. At my office, we've been using Amazon Music HD, which has a selection of over 65 million songs at what they call HD, CD quality. They also have several million songs available in Ultra HD, 24-bit, 44.1 kHz and up quality. Compared to other monthly subscription services like Spotify and Apple Music, Amazon Music HD offers high-resolution audio at an incredibly low price. Individual plans cost 1,980 yen a month, while the family plan costs 2,480 yen. The family plan gives up to 6 people access over multiple devices. 24-bit 96 kHz audio is clearly better than 16-bit 44.1 kHz CD quality audio, but any higher than that, i.e. 24-bit 192 kHz, and it becomes difficult to discern the difference. My guess would be that 24-bit 96 kHz will become the standard bitrate for high-res audio. Compared to 16-bit 44.1 kHz, 24-bit 96 kHz gives you sound with a wider stereo image and more depth, and it gives personality to even the moments of silence. Basically, it's as if you were right there in the studio with the musicians. As long as you have a computer, this service makes it possible to put together a high-res audio system for between 30,000 to 40,000 yen. Just connect your computer to a DAC, digital to analog converter, using USB, and connect the DAC to a pair of powered monitor speakers. As for what cable to use, I recommend using professional-grade cables from the Japanese brand Kanade. If you want to give some warmth to that cool digital sound, buy a vacuum tube preamp to put between your DAC and speakers. Lastly, a couple of Ultra HD recommendations that were just released over the Amazon Music HD service. Jazz guitarist Pat Metheny's From This Place and legendary singer-songwriter James Taylor's American Standard. If you wanted to listen to 24-bit 96 kHz high-res versions of these two albums on other streaming services like Ionkyo, it would cost you more than 5,000 yen for these two albums. In other words, these two albums alone have already made my March subscription financially prudent. In the next installment of this series, we will put together a list of classic pop, music, and rock albums. Gear in Business 10. Famous classical music and jazz recordings. High-Fidelity CDs for testing audio equipment, 6. www.digtokyo.jp